Lads. Well, that was a great start, wasn't it, Hal?
I like your little oops, your little groans, your little grunts. It's always good to hear that and let everyone know that we're actually here. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us. As you know, as Blades, we can't meet up, we can't go to the pub and just chat about our favourite team. So Nick and I thought we'd try and do something to bring us all together, at least until the world returns to some semblance of normality. Now, we're going to look at the season so far and discuss, obviously, what has gone wrong. But arguably more importantly, and I'm sure you'd agree with this, Nick, we're going to talk about the positives. We're going to look ahead. The talented youngsters, we're quite excited about at least 5 youngsters that we kind of know the names already. They just roll off the tongue because they've been on the bench. The return to the stadium, that now looks like it actually has a tangible date. And the return of key players from injury. The main thing about tonight is we'd love it if you joined in the conversation. In the chat, all fans are welcome. There'll be a host of Blade supporters joining us throughout the evening as well to share their thoughts. And if successful, well, we'll do more things like this. And Nick, just to kick us off, I will ask the most important question of the whole entire night, which is, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. Really pleased to be doing this. It was a really good idea of yours. Just the other day, you said, let's talk about what the hell has gone wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, though, we've got a lot more positives since the last time we spoke about this. Like you say, there's a possibility of us maybe getting back to the ground before the season's over. I doubt it very, very much. But like we've said, a lot more positives than we had earlier. And we're obviously going to have to talk about the negatives too. There's been a hell of a lot of negatives this season. We've spoken about them on this channel quite frequently. But yeah, we'll try and end it with a positive spin on it, shall we?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good idea. Some other positives and some things to look forward to. We've got your regular match preview on Saturday. We are playing Liverpool, the beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. And Nick, it's fair to say, if we are focusing on positives, we gave Liverpool a good game at Anfield.
We did, and I don't think any of us really expected it, did we? We really took it to them, and we really should have been ahead going into half-time. Just sloppy defending yet again, but possibly could have had a couple of penalties. We did get one, maybe 3 penalties as well. So there are kind of little tiny bits of optimism. Like, we took it to them that day. They're definitely in a worse position as they were that day, but so are we. So it's going to be very difficult. I think I've got a Liverpool preview coming up. I think it's tomorrow on a Liverpool fan channel. And I said to him already that I think it's going to be a very negative preview from both sides, really. Liverpool really, really struggling to put any sort of wins together. Everton's won for the first time at Anfield for a very, very long time. So anything can happen in this game, can't it?
It feels like anything can happen, yeah, except Blades getting the rub of the green. But I did an interview as well talking about Hassan Ayari with a really nice chap called Amos from Sheffield University. He's a Liverpool fan. And he did say to me before, Liverpool, we've got so many injuries. I really think Sheffield United could win. And my instinct was to say, you've got nothing to worry about, pal. we got more or as many injuries as you, and you're starting off in a better place. But I didn't say that because outwardly, it's like if a Blade says to me, we're going to get hammered, I'm like, we're in this together. If someone who supports another team says something negative about my boys, I'm very defensive.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And the thing is, when Liverpool say, oh, we're without Van Dijk, I'm trying to think who else they're without now, because they've got the front three, haven't they? They've had the front three for most of the season. So I still find it really, really odd that Liverpool aren't picking up more wins and getting more, scoring more goals. But you look at the Van Dijks and obviously Alisson's been out injured earlier on in the season, but he's not playing very well either. So you look at those sorts of players and you think, oh my God, Liverpool are really going to struggle. And then Liverpool fans look at ours and they're like, John Egan, Jack O'Connell, Sander Berge, and it's like, They just throw away names that they don't because they're not kind of household names to a lot of Premier League clubs. They're not world-class players in their eyes. It doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, they've only got Johnny Egan out. And it's like, yeah, he's our Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, he really is our Virgil van Dijk. By the way, we'd like to invite you to get involved in the chat, and also please do smash a like. It really helps other people to actually see this pop up either on their Twitter timeline, on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube as well, it can help promote it onto the homepage. So do please smash a like. If you dislike what we're saying, smash a dislike. I noticed we already had a dislike, Nick, before we'd even started. What's all that about?
It happens, but it all goes towards interaction. So if you want to dislike it, that's fine. It's always nice to see likes rather than dislikes, but like I've said before, it doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to say is, why not sit back, chill out, get a cup of tea? I've got a couple of beers here. I know Hal's not a drinker, but I've got a couple of beers here, and I'm just going to lay back, enjoy the ride, and listen to some Sheffield United fans, because obviously it's great to hear us chatting and stuff. And it's great to hear the fans react, guys, like Adam on screen right now. But it's also nice to hear from some other Blades that may have different opinions to us and the fans reacting.
Yeah, and we're going to welcome a lot of them tonight. Happy birthday, Adam Blade 83 as well. I did want to just get that in. So do let us know your thoughts on what you think has gone wrong. We are going to be covering some specific topics as well. But Nick, before we get the fans on, I just think, here we are, right, February 2021. If you take me back to February 2020, I was singing that we're going to Europe. From Kazakhstan to Amsterdam, we're going abroad. And here we are, 12 months on, and we're talking about and hosting a program about what has gone so terribly wrong. And it does feel to me like this could only happen to Sheffield United.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. I think we spoke about something similar a while back, Huddersfield, when they first came up to the Premier League. They absolutely flew up the league, and they were kind of toying with Champions League, but not quite as much as we were, because we stayed up there for a long, long time. But we've done what Huddersfield have done, really, haven't we? There's obviously a lot of different factors that's happened for us to do what we've done, because if everything would have happened to us this season happened last season, we definitely wouldn't have been kind of going up the league. We'd have been really, really struggling. What do you think would have happened if this would happen last season? Do you think we'd have had it in us to stay up, or do you think it was? Go on, I'll just let you answer that.
Do you mean the coronavirus, the lack of fans coming in, that culmination of awful events?
Everything. Yeah,
I think it would have been much harder. Of course, we did have Dean Henderson last season. We didn't have the injuries. We were really lucky with injuries. That kind of incredible run of consistency of the same players, being able to practically, and I've really noticed it this season, predict the 11, which I've found so hard. I mean, Basham, right? If Chris Basham doesn't play in the next match, then this will be the first match since February 2016, a 3-0 win against Oldham, that none of Egan, O'Connell or Basham have played in a league game. None of them played against AFC Fylde in the FA Cup. But just having none of those three, it really does hit home just how crucial the Pistons, which they're known as, have been. We're not going to have, I don't think, any of them.
No, absolutely. And it's not just kind of like the overlapping that everyone thinks of our defenders as. It's also the cohesion that they've got, and just the mainstay, the fact that if you know that at least one or two of them are there, it's like, we'll be all right. But knowing that none of them are going to be there, but saying that, against Man United, it was, let me just try and think back now, Keane Bryan, Jagielka and Bash, I think it was. Or was it? I can't remember. But against Man United, we didn't do too badly, did we, at all? I'd like to just quickly ask you, I know this is kind of off the cuff, but this season, if every single player was fit, what do you think the lineup would be?
I think you would have Ramsdale in goal. I think interesting would be right wing back, wouldn't it?
Exactly, because Bogle's been excellent, but I think it's maybe one of them where if it's against a team like your top six, maybe Baldock would be in there, or somebody with like Lookman, someone who's very, very good down that left-hand side. But then Bogle for the matches that let's take it to him. But saying that, we took it to every team last season, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We played away from home the way we played at home. It was so encouraging and so exciting to see and know that you felt like you had a chance in every game. But Bogle and Baldock, we've said it before in the match previews, you've got to find a way to get them both in. We can't have our two best players being right wing backs. It's crazy. And actually, Bogle is probably the last really good signing that Chris Wilder made. So I think it's Baldock / Bogle.
Possibly. And then obviously your three centre-backs have got to be the Pistons.
That goes without saying, so everyone fit. Then it's also interesting left wing back because personally, Ender Stevens, if he's on form, he's obviously first choice. But the last 12 months, he hasn't been on form. So I'm picking Ben Osborne.
I would agree with that. But it feels like Chris Wilder doesn't like to play him there. And I've said this for a long time. Chris Wilder, you never know what he's going to do. Never. When you think he's going to do something, he completely goes left field and he's like, right, I'm going to play Max Lowe at left wing back and then Osborne at left centre mid. And it's like, Max Lowe's not very good. Just put Ben Osborne there. He's fine. And then put somebody else at left midfield. I don't know. He's a complicated fella, old Chris Wilder.
Some say tactically stubborn. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. In midfield, if you're asking me for the perfect team with everyone fit, I think it is probably Fleck on the left-hand side. Then I've got a few questions because I don't know if Ampadu is actually as good in the midfield as he is in defence. Sanderberger, do we prefer him on the right or in the Norwood role? Is Norwood in form in this scenario? Because if he is, Norwood played very well last season, and memories are short. People forget because he's not playing well at the moment. Norwood was excellent last season, as was John Lundstrom. So it's not actually as cut and dried in the midfield if everyone's fit.
That's why I asked exactly, because I think that Lundstrom on form fits that role perfectly on the right hand side. Sanderberger's not been 100% on that right hand side. I don't think he's a defensive midfielder. But he's also very good on that right-hand side. And I think the fact that he's only shown it in certain games, sometimes he gets forward, he scores goals, but we've not seen it too much. We've not seen the best of Sanderberger yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
So what would your strike force be? We'll brush past the midfield because we haven't got a clue, have we really? We've put a lot of different factors in there. Is Norwood fit? Is Norwood playing well? Is he not? Sanderberger, where do we play him? Actually, I'll ask you, where does Sanderberger go?
All right, well, I would play Sanderberger over Ollie Norwood if I'm really pushed on it. And also, again, the Lundstrom thing, I like John Lundstrom. In my dream scenario, Lundstrom wants to stay. And perhaps if everyone had been fit, he wouldn't want to leave. I don't know. Maybe it just comes down to money for him. I don't know. But actually, money. But if everyone is fit, it's Fleck, Berger, Lundstrom in the midfield three for me. I won't sit on the fence. I'll genuinely give you my thoughts on that. I agree. Please let us know in the chat. All right, we want to know your midfield three.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bogle, Ampadu, Osborne. Wow, that is a complete left field midfield.
Complete. I don't dislike it though, Nick. I like Bogle in there. We want to see him in a central midfield position, albeit on the right. We know Ozzy gives you everything in there. I haven't been impressed with Ampadu in that position. I think he looks better at defence.
No, exactly. Unless that's the saying that for the next game, because all of those can play, can't they?
True, Bogle, that is a good shout.
Osborne. That could be what it is. Yeah, and up front, let's just go up front quickly. Who's your front two?
Right, well, okay, so if he's on form and he's fit, I love Moose.
Yeah, Moose, best striker that we've got at the club if he's fit.
Arguably, but he's not fit, and actually, I'm not sure he's dedicated to his craft. That might sound like a shocking thing to say, but he is constantly unfit, and that has to come down to your nutrition, your diet. I don't want to say a lack of professionalism. I'm not sure. I'm sure he's very professional. It just seems that he's maybe could do a little bit more, perhaps on the nutrition side. Yeah,
definitely. But he's one of them players that, because we saw so much of him last season, another manager will come in, I think, and try and take him off us and try and get the best out of him, because he is such a great striker. We've all seen that. And if he played like he did part of last season, he'd be playing for a top 4 team, top 2 team, maybe even in any league in the world, in my opinion.
There was even talk last season of would he get a shout for France? Moussa.
Jeez, that just shows how well he played, though. That's a good shout from Ross. But we've not seen enough of Bogle, have we, in that right centre mid role? We only saw him against Brighton, I think it was, when he came on.
I really want to see it. I think it could absolutely revolutionise things. So up front, Brewster and Moose, if everything works, could be really pacey. Over the top, you've got the option there. You've also got a chance for them to play in between each other, getting round behind with the pace of Bogle as well. God, it would be so exciting because Bogle's basically a third striker wherever he plays. It would be really exciting. So I'd probably say that is my ideal team. It seems madness picking Brewster when he hasn't scored a single goal for the club, and I'm leaving out Billy Sharp, who's scored every goal for the club. But you've
also there left out David McGoldrick, who's arguably been our best striker this season, and maybe last season, you could say, even though he didn't score the goals, doesn't mean that he's not a valuable member of the squad.
Well, maybe Nick, we solve the midfield problem by playing David McGoldrick in that number 10 role, or really, as we prefer calling it, the Duffy role.
The Duffy role. Exactly. So I think that's our team. That's our full team.
Yeah, and I think it's also time to introduce our first guest, if you're happy, Nick.
I think let's go for it.
All right, this next guest is a man I'm particularly fond of. He is our hitchhiking blade. He's done player ratings on our match reaction. It is Adrian Bell. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm on top of the world. Absolutely. Just listening to you two going through, I just can't believe we're on top of the league. What a team! What a team we've got. Where did it all go wrong? Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, where did it all go wrong? In fact, Adrian, let's start with the big question, which is who has over and who has underachieved this season, in your opinion?
Should we start with the overachieved, because we'll get that done pretty quickly, I think. In fact, I'm really struggling, and as you mentioned, just as I was logging on or coming in, and I heard the first name that I heard you two mention was Osborne, and I thought, oh yeah, there we go. There's another Bogle. Bogle's a bright spot, but then I wouldn't say overachieved. We just didn't know what to expect from Bogle, did we? We've all been pleasantly surprised. Ozzy, I do actually like him as a left wing back. I really do, and to me, he's. I suppose he was starting to look. Remember when Fleck got injured towards the end of last season, just after lockdown, and we'd had that when the matches had started again, and we had a pretty bad start, and then we had that little run where we beat Chelsea and we beat Spurs, and I think Fleck was injured for quite a bit of that, and Osborne was playing in the Fleck role at that point, and it was almost like we didn't miss Fleck because Osborne played so well in that. So I think at that point we all thought, oh, actually, Osborne does look like he's quite a useful signing. So I think I was quite hopeful for his chances this season. And again, you were saying about the vagaries of the Mr. Wilder's team selection can seem a little bit odd sometimes, and Osborne certainly seems to not always be in favour, and so he's not played as much as I would have hoped he would do, to be honest, Osborne. But when he has done, I don't think he's done a right lot wrong, to be honest. I don't know whether that counts as overachieving or not, but I suppose it counts as achieving. So it's pretty hard to find anybody else who might have overachieved.
Can I just jump in about Osborne? Do we think that sometimes he goes missing in games? Because sometimes he has great games, brilliant games. He's all over the place. But then sometimes you can go 45 minutes, you can go 60 minutes, and you're thinking, I don't remember seeing Osborne on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're probably the bits where I'm not noticing, you see. So he's not done anything bad. He's not done anything good. So therefore, I only remember the good bits of Ozzy. Yeah.
Adrian, can you put another 10p in the meter? Your internet is not as good as when you were at your secret bunker working out.
Is it not? Is it not? Are you missing every other word? If I say every word,
Say every word twice. We'll ask you one more.
I'll say every word twice. Did that work?
We got every word. We did.
Good. Is that any better? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I'm in the secret loft today. I'm in the secret loft conversion. Is that any better?
No, but Nick's got one more question for you, and then we'll let you escape. I promise.
Makes great television, this. Doesn't it?
So we know a lot of players underperformed this season. Who actually performed as expected, do you think?
Probably John Egan, I would say, until he went and got injured. And he was Basham, those two. And the surprising thing about that is how bad our defence has been, even though those two have been our most consistent players. And Ampadu's looked pretty good as well in the defence. So that blows that completely. But I don't quite understand how our defence is so bad when we've got three players that have all performed there. Probably just because they're not. There's no regular. Like the last season, we all knew the back five was going to be back six, if you include Endo. But I would say Egan and Basham especially. I was going to say on the underachieving as well. Before the season kicked off, and when I'm sitting on the bus going to work, and I'm idly speculating as to what's going to happen, and I was kind of excited about the new season. I remember thinking to myself, I reckon this is going to be the season where Billy Sharp and Ollie McBurney strike a fantastic partnership and get 15 goals apiece each. That hasn't quite worked, has it, really?
Oh, it would have been absolutely lovely.
Yeah, and I really thought this is going to be it. Sharp and McBurney, 50 goals between them. But never mind. So that didn't happen either. Well, it might still happen, yeah, but if we do, yeah, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah, it could have done. Adrian, I'm so sorry. Your internet isn't the best. We would love to have kept you on a little bit longer, but next time you are in that secret bunker pumping iron like we had you for the watch along, we'll definitely get you back on.
Okay, no problem. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much for being part of the program. Adrian, one of many more that we will have. We want your thoughts in the comments as well. You know, who do you think has overachieved? Who do you think has underachieved? You only have a certain amount of characters for that last question.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we move on to our next guest, Hal?
Jono, another great friend of mine, a former referee. He once told me that he refereed John Lundstrom. Is that right, Jono?
Yeah, it is. A long time ago when he was still with Everton. But yeah, I did. You were meant to keep that quiet.
I know, and I'll tell you what else.
About this is times on this channel.
This is a secret. No, but the good thing is, you told me this ages ago. I mean, a long time ago. And you said to me then, even John Lundstrom, as a youngster in the Everton side, actually stood out to you, because that must not always be the case when you're refereeing. You're concentrating on your game.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, it was while he was still with the kids. Really, it was the youth team. But yeah, he stuck out. It was at West Brom. I think my voice gives it away. I'm from Sheffield, but not living there now. So, yeah, it was a game at West Brom. But yeah, he shone out. He looked like he was going to be a player, and he's proving that he's still all right, isn't he?
He certainly has. I mean, it'd be a shame, as I've said already, it'd be a shame to lose him. But let's talk about signings, because we might have to replace him. But as we look back on the season that we've endured, best and worst signings in your opinion, buddy?
I think best is quite an easy one. We've mentioned him already quite a lot throughout the day. But Jayden Bogle stands out. He's what can we say? He's action all over the pitch. He looks like, we still forget he's only young. So yeah, I think he's going to be a very good player moving forward for us. So for this moment in time, it's got to be Bogle for the best player. I don't like going on worst, but I think at this moment in time, and I think he's going to turn out all right for us, but I've got to go Brewster. Only on the basis that we've got no goals from him. We've spent a lot of money, and a club like us spending that sort of money, I think we need a return. Like I say, I think he will turn good. I think next season the Championship could actually be a good step for him. But yeah, at this moment in time, based on what we spent for him and the lack of return, I would say Brewster.
Well, one of them could have been Ramsdale, either best or worst signings. He's definitely had a better kind of back end of the season than start of the season. But at the start of the season, I kind of looked at it and thought, does the defence have no kind of are they expecting Ramsdale to make these mistakes? Have they not really got any confidence in him, or has he not got any confidence in the defence? Because the defence weren't very good from the start either. What do you think of the Ramsdale signing?
I think it was always going to be tricky trying to replace Dean Henderson. I think whoever we came into was going to be a tough task. You know, ideal world we'd have had Dean Henderson and that's that. But it'd have been interesting to know from Wilder's point of view, was there a chance of having Henderson for another season? I get the impression we maybe took advantage of Bournemouth going down and thinking, you know, we've had Henderson for a couple of years now. We need a keeper of our own. So I understood why we did what we did, why we've got him. He's another one that we're not in this position because of Aaron Ramsdale. You know, he's not a bad keeper. He isn't Dean Henderson. And Nick, as you touched on early on, I think Ramsdale made mistakes, and that maybe had an effect on the defence. But the defence in front of Ramsdale were also making mistakes. So who do you point the finger at? You could blame either as such, but I think certainly a bit like we've touched on Brewster, he's improved. I think in recent weeks we can't really blame Ramsdale too much. I think he's improved as the season's gone on. I think he's another one that he will be all right for us, but ultimately he was stepping into a tough position, having to try and fill Dean Henderson's boots, gloves, whatever you want to put it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And, you know, I think for a lot of us, we didn't want Ramsdale to fail. I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad no one's called him Ramsfail, because that would be very unfair. I mean, if
now you've said that.
No, well, all right, I'll put something else in your head. Rams kale, if he gets into healthy eating, something like that. I don't know. We could probably think of more. Put them in the chat. Rams flail, you know, when he's a postman. Rams mail. Come up with your own. Put them in the chat. It'd be better to hear those. So, Jono, should we have spent money, do you think, more wisely?
Probably yes. I think the goalkeeper, as we said, if we weren't going to get Henderson, we needed to get someone else in. The big one for me that I think we'd never replace was, again, I already said earlier, the Duffy role, the attacking mid. I'm not saying he was the answer, but I was worried when Freeman left and we didn't replace him. I couldn't see a player to fill that sort of position. I know Freeman hasn't pulled up any trees at Forest really this season, but that sort of attacking mid player, I think we were crying out for him. I think we still are. There's questions about other positions and how good they've been, but other than dropping McGoldrick back, I think we're missing that attacking player. And McGoldrick he's not as quick as, you know, that your standard number 10. He certainly can do a job there, but yeah, I think we maybe could have tried to fill that position. But yeah, we could have probably spent a bit better in hindsight.
Oh, I thought of another one. If he's not getting his vitamin D, Rams pale. I'll stop.
How you're proving your lyrical days are still there, aren't they?
Now, that was something I told you in private. You're getting me back.
Yeah, 100%.
So we obviously needed a goalkeeper coming into this season, knowing that Dean Henderson was probably going to stay at Man United. We spent a lot of money on a goalkeeper. We ended up spending a lot of money on a striker, which I don't think Chris Wilder really wanted to pay that much money, but we weren't doing very well at the time. I know you've mentioned already the kind of attacking midfield role, or the Duffy role, if you like. Are there any other positions that you don't think we really covered in the transfer window, in the first one anyway?
Like I said, the big one that stuck out was the attacking mids. It's a tricky one, but I don't think the left-sided defence we've ever really had cover. And O'Connell is his own sort of player. If you were to ask me who could we have as backup, I couldn't tell you, because he's such a different role for us. And like I said, I don't know who. But in hindsight, obviously we weren't expecting him to be out for the season. But not having someone to fill that role when he's gone, I think, is the other one that, yes, we could look to replace it. But as I said, who to actually put in there? If anyone's got suggestions, let me know, because there's no one I've seen to match him, really. But yeah, I'd probably say a left centre back. You know, we've done all right with some other players to fill in when the defenders have been out. But I don't think we've had anyone that can step up to even get close to O'Connell.
No, and that's not. Can I just say, Hal, that's really not fair. While Jono's talking, you're putting these really funny things on screen like Rams Braille. That's not fair. That's not fair, because I'm trying to hold back a giggle here.
See, I share something with you guys. Jono, go on.
I could say I can't see them, so
I knew you couldn't.
I'm missing out on all the fun.
I knew you couldn't. That's why I was doing them, and then Nick's gone and dobbed me in. No, I've just been sent this from our stats man. Adam.
You wanted me to do that, didn't you?
I did, and you kind of let me down. He said this is since lockdown for Sheffield United, right? Played 35, won 6, drawn 4, lost 25, 22 points since lockdown. That is nearly a season, and obviously relegated easily with 22 points over a season. When it's written crisp and clear like that, it is absolutely shocking, and goes to show that so many things have culminated in what the hell has gone wrong this and the back end of last season, apart from Tottenham, Chelsea, Wolves, and a little bit of Burnley.
Yeah, that's scary. That's quite scary.
It really is. It's absolutely scary. Unlike seeing your lovely face, Jono, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you both. I'll see you both soon.
See you soon, mate.
So, man, I really like seeing Jono join us. He knows his stuff.
Yes, he definitely does. Really nice bloke as well. We need to say this about Adrian, though. We need to stop saying that people are nice blokes, because then we're going to have to say it about every single one of them.
Yeah, you're right. We probably are going to have to do that. We've got more fans that are going to be joining us as we go through. Thanks very much in the chat. I feel like it's time, Nick, to just have a quick look at the chat, because some more of these Ramsdale suggestions. I didn't mean to do that. All right, that's not what we want to do. We are a pro Chris Wilder, Alan Nill, Aaron Ramsdale, Billy Sharp podcast and YouTube channel, aren't we?
Yeah, we are definitely. And we've got to be positive, haven't we? But we've got to be realistic sometimes. But here we go. Pramsdale. Fair.
It's changing it, because I was just changing the end. But you know, Gers 1661 has taken that in a different direction. That's not what we're here for tonight. We're going to end that now. We've had enough fun there. The fun must cease. Because now we're talking about how awful our beloved Blades have been. Nick, let's be realistic. Sheffield United are going to get relegated. We're going to be in the Championship next season. So what about the FA Cup? Are you hopeful with that tie coming up against Chelsea?
Well, we've lost all 3 Pistons. Against Chelsea, we're going to be without Ampadu as well. So it's going to be very, very difficult to concede less goals than Chelsea score against us. No, that's not right. Concede less goals than Chelsea. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I like this from Matthew. This is what we kind of want to get across, that we want to be really positive looking into next season. I can see us doing an Norwich next season. I can see us smashing the Championship, absolutely tearing it up. Players come back from injury. We keep hold of a lot of them because of the injuries, and I can see us really, really doing well. I also think we'll make some key additions. But next season, Ramsdale will be the best keeper in the Championship. That is exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, can we just say that hopefully Ramsdale won't have to save as many shots as he's had to this season. So hopefully that goes in his favour as well. So we want to see that. I was going to ask one question, and I'm not sure if it fits into any of these subjects that we're talking about tonight. Jagielka, can we see one more year in Jagielka as a centre-back if Egan goes off?
I want that in the chat. I don't want my opinion on that. Jagielka, next season, yes or no, in the chat. What do you think? Join us wherever you are. If you're watching on Facebook, you can chat. You can do it on, what's it called on Twitter? Periscope. Thanks, Nick.
Periscope, that's it.
You're on the same dial-up as Adrian. And then And then YouTube, of course, where this all started. Do give us a like. Please subscribe as well. We want to try and build those numbers up. And another thing I want to give a shout out to is do follow us on social media, because we've got Bobby doing incredible work behind the scenes on graphics. Today was Wallpaper Wednesday. If you follow us on Instagram at Sheff United Way, you'll actually be able to, like I do, screenshot the wallpaper and save it to your phone. I've used all of the ones he's made so far. I have them on for a week and then I change it up. It's great. He does some brilliant graphics.
Can I just help you out there, Hal? Never screenshot things. Save the image. Hold it down, save it, then upload it. Because if you screenshot it, it's worse quality. Well, I don't know what phone you've got. I don't know if you've got a Nokia 3310.
You can play a Snake on my phone, mate.
Yeah, I thought that might work with you. Yeah, Bobby's doing an amazing job. If you've seen any of the graphics, like Hal's just said, Bobby's doing all that. I used to do a little bits and bobs, but Bobby just blows me out of the water, so I'm not even going to bother anymore. So shall we bring our next guest in, Hal?
Yeah, I'm ready for Ian Coates.
Let's go for it then. Hello, Ian. How are we doing, mate?
I'm all right. All right, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, we're just delighted that you've joined us. Coatesy, we'll call you that because that's what you've put on your name tag then. You could have chosen anything. So we're talking about this absolutely awful season that we've all just had to witness. And the worst thing is we've had to witness it from afar. So, Ian Coatesy, how much has no crowds, in your opinion, affected our results?
Well, I think it's been massive. Obviously, we'd be top of the table now if crowds were allowed in. No, I mean, seriously, I think when you look at a question like this, there's no definitive answer. I mean, you never know how things would have gone. But the game has definitely changed for me with no crowds. The psychology involved with a professional sportsman. I mean, I wrote a couple of examples down that just came to the forefront earlier. You imagine Billy's equaliser at Bournemouth, or McBurney's equaliser against Man United. Even when Billy scored the winner against Norwich, and he's giving it the old to everybody, and you can see Norwood's giving it, just yelling at the crowd.
Of course, that game, the one you're referencing, the Norwich one at home, the last time we were all together as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so to not have that pick me up, I think has affected it. Whether it's affected our results, I couldn't tell you, because if you look at we've still beat Chelsea last season, Spurs last season, we beat Man U this season. I just think the psychology's changed. I also think, I don't know what you think about this, but I also think the referees are getting a lot easier run than they used to have. No crowd on the back. And I think that's it. Like I said, it's not so much do I think it's affected the results. I just think the game in general has changed. It's hard to explain, but it's sort of it's like the referee's game now, isn't it? It's that there's no atmosphere, there's no fans there. All we can hear is the referee's whistle every 2 seconds. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I think it's quite hard to gauge, really.
I think that's a very good point about the referees. I've not even thought about that for a second.
It's a great point.
Yeah, really, really good point. I think, and as well with the players celebrating and stuff, Billy Sharp's equaliser against Bournemouth. How would that have even gone down? Would he have even run off celebrating? Where would he have run to?
Exactly.
Brilliant.
I mean, even when we played football as kids, if you had a few of your mates watching, it was different, wasn't it? It's not so much. I think it's affected the results. I mean, it will have in one way, but it affects every team differently. So you can't say we would have won this game, we would have lost that game. But it's the psychology of it that's been affected, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to have to just cozy because there's so many comments coming through about it. You're going to have to stay still on your sofa, mate.
Okay.
What I was going to say was, last season, I felt like, do you know where I could hear him trying to be as still as possible.
Yeah. Don't move. And then you just move more.
Last season, when we beat those big teams at the back end of the season with no crowd, your Spurs, your Chelseas, I felt, and the Wolves.
Get him out.
Oh, Hal, never mind. When we beat those sort of teams, I was thinking, is it because the players are getting themselves up for these bigger games? Fair enough, we got hammered by Man United away, but I felt like this season we could do that again, and it's just not happened at all. So, Ian, my question, my question to you is...
It's all right, either or. I've just read the comment about the fart couch. It's leather, you know.
We can tell.
Obviously, it's affected us, the crowd. It's affected everybody. Us more than most teams, I think, because we maybe don't have the same players that the top half of the table have. But do you think it's affected us more than other Premier League clubs?
Yeah, well, yeah. So if we focusing on Sheffield United, then I think it has, because there's always an argument that the teams that don't have the flair players that have a team of grafters need that pick me up. So there's always an argument for that. I think there's also an argument, though, that it's affected other teams in a positive way. If I use West Ham as an example, last season, every time you put Match of the Day on, it was, bored out, we're rubbish, etc. No crowds. All of a sudden, they're in top 5, 4, wherever they are, and they're doing well. I think for Sheffield United, it wasn't. It was COVID, wasn't it? It was COVID that did us. It was just the momentum. We were doing so well. We've been on a high for 4 years, and then bang, COVID hits. We have this break, and then we come back. Obviously, there's no crowds. Yes, you're right. I think that does affect us because you haven't got Bold. He absolutely loves a challenge, doesn't he? Or McBurney loves a go. All these things that need that bit of a pick up because they've got 30,000 fans roaring them on. But to flip it around, West Ham, and then also Villa to a degree, where they didn't have the fans on the back, and then they managed to regroup, and now they seem to be doing better. Then you also look at Man United, who this season second in the table. I think they've lost 7 games, but 5 or 6 of those games are away from home. It's quite weird. So, do I think that it affected us more than most? I think there's an argument for it, but I think it's affected every club in its own kind of unique way.
Spot on with everything you're saying. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think one thing we've got to ask you about is, do you think the fans would be more positive or negative with losing games if we were actually in the ground? And I think this is one that Nick's touched on in the past, is that we're kind of all on social media. So we're instantly just venting our, Coatsy, we're just kind of instantly venting how we feel. How do you feel about
that? Well, I remember last season when we lost to Liverpool at home, and the lads got a standing ovation for that. I think this season, honestly, I know you said, it's like social media and people are a lot more confident behind a screen and just typing whatever they feel like. But I do think there will be quite a lot of negativity, to be honest, at the minute, because it's been such a bad run of form, negative result after negative result. And then when if you'd have seen me watching the Fulham game, I mean, it was so bad. I mean, I remember before, they even kicked a ball, and the Sky team put out who was playing where, and I turned around to my son, all cocksure, and I was like, "Oh no, they've got that wrong. There's no way Bash is playing midfield. It'll be Ampadu, blah blah." And it wasn't. It was Bash in midfield, and I was just like, "How?" And then as that half rolled on, I would, this is pathetic. This is what I was saying. This is pathetic, and I actually feel like.
Can I just say, do you think that you would just be, if we're in the ground, just kind of mumbling that to the person next to you, rather than you wouldn't be shouting, "Wilder, this is pathetic," like maybe some other clubs would?
I don't know. I don't know. I think there would be quite a bit of toxicity around the place at the minute. I'm just gauging it from when that final whistle went, I was like, this is terrible. And I think if we'd had a couple of beers before the game in a pub, watched it, I think we'd be at this moment in time. I think we'd be like, this is terrible. But what I will say on a positive note is that with the government saying that we might be able to get to the last game of the season, I actually think that's going to work in our favour, because the fans, the 8,000, 9,000 fans will turn up and they'll applaud them off for last season. And, it'll be a fitting end to what's been a bit of a hell of a journey so far. And then, obviously, we're down, so let's just regroup next season, win the FA Cup this season, obviously, and then go ahead and make a good fist of it, like going up to the Championship, but give the players the respect that, and the plaudits that they do deserve for it has been a hell of a ride.
I feel like we need to go down fighting as well, because like with Huddersfield and other teams that have, like Sunderland, just flown straight down the leagues. What we need to do is we need to go into the last few games of the season and actually let's get a draw. Let's win a game. Let's not just go down lost, because that'll go into next season.
And
no doubt about it.
You're still playing for where you finish. You get more money, so there's actually still something to play for.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, there is anyways, isn't there? I mean, people say like, "Oh, they're only playing for pride," but still, that's you as a person, you as a character. There's a lot to play for. Everyone's been talking obviously about the Derby points total and everything. I must admit, if you'd have gone back 3 weeks ago, I did think we turned a bit of a corner, and I thought we were going to make it, even a fist of it, to end up high 20s, see who maybe drops off, kind of thing. But yeah, we've got the FA Cup. We've still got the FA Cup. It's 90 minutes against Chelsea. Let's go out there. Let's beat them. Get to Wembley. Let's take it from there.
Exactly.
I love it. I love the optimism, Coach. You've been absolutely brilliant. What a cracking guest. We'll definitely have to get you on again. I'm only disappointed in. Well, I liked the sofa.
I'm going to get a velour couch next.
I added sort of an element of levity, but you're not wearing your Sheffield United way T-shirt.
No, I got it out earlier, but it's not been ironed. So I thought no.
We don't care. We wouldn't have cared.
I ironed this especially, but you can hardly see it. There we go.
Well, no, it's been a pleasure, fellas, and look forward to hearing what everyone else has got to say.
Thank you. Nice one, Coach.
Are you going to stay with us in the back end of the stream and listen to what everybody else is saying?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you very much for being here, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You can escape Courtesy and just watch it on your laptop and get more views. I've got to say, I really agree with pretty much everything he said there. It's great to see and hear other opinions of fans, which is what we were getting as well from the chat. Loads of comments coming through. Hopefully you're respecting the fact that I can't mention all of them and we're just bringing them up on screen instead. But I thought Coatsy did a really, really good job, and it was great having him on. And we've enjoyed all of our guests so far, and I know we've got even more still to come. So who's next?
We do. Shall we bring Cameron in?
Oh, it's Cameron Lambert time. Of course it is.
It is. It's Cameron Lambert. I couldn't say that. Cameron Lambert. How are we doing, Cameron? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Are you in a Chilean mine?
Oh, mate, this is my den, this. Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about it. Just as long as the internet don't cut off, we're all right.
Yes, that's definitely after the first experience with Adrian, who I wanted to talk to for about an hour because he's just amazing. We do want really, really good quality internet. So far, so good.
Well, fingers crossed, lads. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so let's talk about the management. This is a really, really sore subject, and I know this is going to be very, very difficult to talk about because there are a lot of happy clappers out there that can't hear anything bad about Wilder, Nil, anybody else. So let's kick off with a really, really easy question for you. Has Chris Wilder made any mistakes this year?
Well, to be honest, when you think about that question, the best person to ask is him, and he'd probably say yes. I mean, you ask most Premier League managers if they've made a mistake this season, and I guarantee probably all 20 of them will say yes. It's just simple fact. Myself personally, I don't think off the top of my head there's been a real big mistake made by him, but I can't imagine many fans think there is either. I mean, the only thing I thought of when I actually thought about the mistakes, things like that, is maybe substitutions. There's been some substitutions I thought we could maybe stretch the game and bring Burke on, and he's brought sharp on with 15 to go. But generally, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, really.
Yeah, I think there could possibly be a few different substitutions that Wilder's done wrong this season that just makes your mind boggle, like bringing a defensive midfielder on when we need a goal or something like that. Or like you say, we've got like 4 strikers on the pitch, and it's like, where are they all going to play? They're all in each other's way.
I tell you what does do my head in, actually, about Wilder's subs, and it actually bugs me a lot. It's Chris Basham. He's playing the best at the back consistently. He'll bring the ball out of play. If anything, I'd take Ampadu off and drop Basham into midfield or Norwood, one of them two, and then bring a striker on for someone else, because every time he brings a striker on, it's for Basham. I say to anyone who I'm watching with, I guarantee you now Chris Basham will come off. And he's playing best. He's the best player in the game, and he comes off every time. But then again, I don't know. I can't think of any real mistakes he's made. Players have made more mistakes than Wilder for me, personally, but yeah.
Well, I totally agree. Nick and I say it with the watch-alongs all the time. We just got to check the watch, haven't you, Nick? Because, it's about to be take Basham off time. And unfortunately, of course, now he's got that hamstring injury. Let's give a shout-out to Stephen Walker. Nick, you do the thing. I can't do it. The LED
Steve,
thing.
can you send me a fiver, pal? I need some lights.
Yeah, there's some interesting comments coming in about that room. I didn't mean to draw attention to it, but it's happened.
James. Yeah, he has.
Thanks to all those that have got in touch with that. Now, this is the big question. And Jack O'Connell's injury was just before the Leeds game. I remember it was before we were in the COVID ceasefire, weren't we? So we'd come out of lockdown and we were actually able to see people again. So I was going to go and pick my nephew up to watch the Blades game against Leeds together. And on the radio, I heard that Jack O'Connell had a serious injury. And I thought at the time, that means we're going to have to change formation. So, Cameron, should the formation have changed after Jack O'Connell's, now we know, very serious injury leading to operation?
So for me, I think personally, system stays the same. I think Chris Wilder, and I think many other people know that the club runs the system from the first team down to the U team. And that's how Wilder likes it to be. So these youngsters coming through can fit straight into the model of the team. I don't think one player changes the system. I know he's a key pivotal player, especially in that back 5 or 3, if you want to call it a 3. And I guess for me personally, I'm not a manager. I'm not going to say I'm the right guy to make this decision, but I would personally say that you keep the system and you actually have a player as good enough, if not just as good, to come in and fit straight in. The problem we've had with our system, personally, I think, is that the left-hand side with Robinson, solid centre-back in a 4-4-2, I think. Put him in a 3 is a nightmare. No pace, can't get back, gets caught on the ball. Ampadu, brilliant ball playing, probably midfielder actually, in my opinion, but put him at centre-back, he does a job. But the way O'Connell, Basham and Egan work is them overlaps, and I don't think Kean Bryan can come in either and do them overlaps. Again, he's a solid centre-half for 4-4-2, maybe a 5 at the back, just no overlapping, but you've got to strengthen the squad in depth so that there's enough quality. If this happens, you can keep the system going. I mean, I thought about this as well and thought, Liverpool, if you look at Liverpool, they're having the same problem. He's trying to keep the same system, but without the players in depth who are good enough to do it, they can't keep that system working properly. And that's the same thing we've got, really. It's not just also Jack O'Connell missing. There's also been midfielders. We've not had a front 2 all the time consistently. And all that factors into your system, really. But if you're talking about just Jack O'Connell, I think we should have signed a centre-half as good enough to come in and fit straight into that system, because for me, you don't change the system over one player.
I'd also like to bring up, it's all that left-hand side, really. We've had injuries to Jack O'Connell, and Stevens has barely kind of strung 3-4 games together. John Fleck's been in and out of the side, not been playing very well at times. So it's really all that left-hand side, and that's a big problem. And at the start of the season, we were probably predominantly going down that right-hand side, and that's where we were getting found out. I don't kind of buy into this, we're getting found out, but if you're just going down the right-hand side and not creating anything on the left or in the middle, then it's going to be really easy to defend against.
Yeah, and also Fleck going missing in form and Stevens going missing in form. I don't know whether that's because of Jack O'Connell being missing, but them two being out, obviously that's all down the left. So the systems, like Wilder said it in interviews, the system works. The system does work. You don't change the system. You need to bring in quality in depth, and that's our problem. With the lowest wage bill in the league, you've got no chance. It's simple as that.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Thanks again to Stephen Walker. He's got you some lights there, so we're all winning.
Oh, cheers, pal.
So finally, I'm saying we. Are you, Cameron, still 100% behind Chris Wilder, Alan Knill, and the management team?
No, of course I'm not. No, totally joking. Of course, absolutely. Yeah, there's no other manager. I tell you now, there's no other manager who can get what he's got out of them players. You could put Pep Guardiola in charge, and I guarantee he ain't got Basham, Egan, Flake playing like they are, because it's Wilder's squad. They've gone through numerous years of working the system, being as a group, and you've got to be behind Wilder because, for example, look at West Brom. They sacked Bilic and brought Fat Sam in, and for me, he's a dinosaur in the game. If you put him into that squad, it'd be horrific. So you've got to be behind Wilder and Knill because they've inherited that squad. For me personally, I don't know about you guys or the fans watching, but my concern is with the ownership, to be honest. It's my worries with that. I don't know if we've got enough money to if we can keep the squad we've got now and we can build a couple more players, maybe bring a few back from loan and get them playing well. But if for example, we need to stay up in the Premier League, we need to spend a lot more money, and we should be signing players like Watkins and Cash. I'm not saying Bogle's not been good or anything like that, but we need to start bringing in 30, 40 million pound players, not 20 million pound players on 15 grand a week, because that's what we're getting at the minute. That's my issue. So for me, management stays the same. Ownership needs to pull the finger out. Whether they've got money or not, they need to find it.
I agree. And Jeff Bezos is apparently trying to buy a sports franchise, he has said. So he's got a bit of cash.
Oh, yeah. He's our messiah, no other manager.
Yeah, I like this when we get other people on and they read out loud. That's good stuff. Cameron, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. All these fans, Nick, I'm amazed, speak so much sense. I've been listening to all of them thinking, why do they watch us? They've got all their own thoughts are arguably better.
I love your two's face every week. That's what it is. It's in this dark room. You can watch it really well. Really
Well, you don't need to do that anymore because you've got lights now.
Yeah, that's it. There we go, lads.
Yeah.
Top man, Cameron. Thank you so much for being a part of our, I was going to say program. I don't know what we call this. It's new. We're giving it a little experiment. We want to bring fans together while we can't all literally be together as we would, normally in a pub, but I'd be having a water and just chatting.
Yeah, it's been spot on. Thanks for having us on, lads.
Cheers, Cameron. See you soon, mate.
Cheers.
Just some really good points. The guests we've had on so far, Nick, I have been absolutely blown away. Really good.
Yeah, they've all been brilliant, haven't they? They're setting a really high kind of barrier, aren't they? We need to keep going. We need to keep going with these. Who have we got up next?
Are you saying that the pressure is on Jason?
I'm saying that. Can he step up? So let's bring him in, shall we?
He can, yeah. I'm personally vouching for Jason, so no pressure, Jason. But thank you very much for joining us on the Sheffield United Way. Great choice of shirt, my personal favourite for this season. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Excellent. And you are in, is that the library from Ghostbusters 2?
Not far off what used to be. Yeah. It's one of the old, I've got Zoom calls these days, so rather being in my pants, I need to do something that people think I'm actually working.
Well, we were actually asked, I got like a message on Twitter to try and sex appeal this whole thing up, just to make it a little bit more sexy. So Nick has decided to do the whole thing bottom half naked.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 1 second, let me just shut them. I'm joking.
That makes two of us.
So, Jason, the reason we wanted to get you on is you've been very active on the at Sheffield United Way Twitter. Thank you, first of all, for following that.
Let me just jump in. We're talking about not having anything on our lower parts of our bodies going into this section now.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody knows what this is going to be, do they, as well?
Yeah, and I can't believe you just made that connection, and you're a bad man. So where was I? Thank you very much for following on Twitter. I was trying to do a promotion for the Twitter, Nick, if you will.
You can still do it.
I largely run that. That's where I was. And so it's great that you actually support that. And thank you for commenting so regularly, Jason. It genuinely is appreciated. So one of the discussions on there the other day was about our academy. So just what do you know of our academy?
Where do you want to start? I think the initial conversation was, why are we not playing all the kids? We have had a meteoric rise from League One. And effectively, our academy hasn't had the ability to follow us at the same speed. We don't have the infrastructure and the place to develop what we would class as Premier League players these days. We're a Cat 2 academy, so there's 1 and 4 categories. We're a Cat 2. To get to where you'd want to be as a Premier League academy, that's a hell of a lot of investment that I'm not sure we're going to have. Just to give you an idea, if you want a Cat 1 status, you've got to have a minimum of 18 staff. You've got to have a budget of £2.5 million. We're not there. We've bought the ground. We've bought the hotel. We've bought whatever. We've got to invest in the first team, or we've invested in the first team, rightly, wisely, whatever you want to put that one. So it needs significant investment. And everyone's like, let's play the kids. Let's get the kids in. People have heard some of the kids. So they've heard the likes of Hackford and Gordon and Frank Maguire. And they're 16 and 18 years old. They've not developed as men. And what you've got to look at is there are some bright sparks, some bright sights and lights in the academy. But you watch, I don't know if it's the Johnson Paint Trophy or whatever they call it these days, but they brought the under-23s into that competition. And they're getting bashed by Rochdale and League One sides. So bringing kids into a level that we're at the moment, albeit struggling, is a difficult conversation to have. We've just signed a young lad from Arsenal who's been nipped up on schoolboys, so we'll see what he's like. He came in this week and had a debut and did quite well.
Do you know his name, Jason?
Will Lancashire.
Okay, we'll remember the name. Thank you.
So he's new, but again, young lad. You've got people like Zach Brunt, as I said, he's been tipped as being the one that will probably make the step up. But
I will actually ask that question. Which of the young players do actually stand out to you?
Well, you've got the 3 that have already been touted, if you like, because they've been on the fringe, so people know Hackford. I mean, he's 16.
It's mad.
So he's a young lad. And there is a difference. I mean, I watch quite a bit of non-league football as well. And I see academies down there and young kids. And it's different when they come up against grown, full professional athletes. I mean, don't forget, they're still at school. We talk about an academy. They're still at school. They're still in the classroom for 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, the Zoom classroom at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got Sariki, Tunisian lad who scored on his debut, made an assist. And there's one that seems to be going on the radar, Harrison Neal. He's 19. He's a Barnsley lad. Apparently, he's been from the academy since he was a toddler, effectively. He's been there all the way through. He apparently is going to be decent, but there's nothing that you could go, we've got another Kyle Walker, we've got another Harry Maguire, we've got another Carl Norton, because Norton was better than Walker when we let him go. There's nobody taking that step up. Or, I mean, Wilder's said it, there's nothing in the academy that you could put in the first team. Now, whether he bloods them and gets them used to it, then it's there to get used to the environment. But you're not going to be able to play 5 kids in a Premier League game. I think that was the point that we were trying to make previously.
Yeah, they're all looking at kind of 16, 17-year-old at the moment, aren't they? And surely we should be looking at players that would be kind of 18, 19 coming into the first team. Even that would be a struggle in the Premier League. But as we've already spoken about, it doesn't look like you don't think that we should be throwing any kids in there anytime soon. What about
I won't say don't throw them in. I just say we've got to be careful when we're looking at playing or bringing them in. because at the moment they're doing quite well. Under 23 is doing great.
Yeah, they are.
Second in the table, I think they're doing great. Confidence is high. They're enjoying their football, and they're going to come into a first team which morale's probably not as good as we want it to be. There's a habit. For 4 years, we've had a winning habit. I think Baldock said we're not used to losing.
He's right.
We've had a winning habit. And I think by bringing kids in and feeding them not necessarily a losing habit, but not a winning habit, you've got to be careful on how we take them forward.
Yeah, I think me and you, Hal, we spoke about this, didn't we? And we said that we were looking at the last time we got relegated from the Championship to League One. And obviously we brought in Harry Maguire into the first time. We brought in Jordan Slew. Are they way ahead of these sort of players right now? Yeah.
But then, well, the problem is we didn't bring Harry Maguire in to a Premier League team. But they learned the football at a lower league. They cut their cloth accordingly and grew with the team.
Jason, you're whether you like it or not, you've become our academy expert, and there's questions have come through to you. So Rich says, Jason, what happened to Sam Graham? That's a great question. Sam Graham was playing friendlies pre-season with the first team, a couple of seasons ago, and then he's gone out on loan. I mean, do you know what's happened with his development?
I don't. I know he went to Halifax, didn't he? But I haven't. It's funny because I watch quite a lot of National League football as well. So I haven't seen Sam Graham. I don't know what's happening with at Halifax, to be honest. As we've had a conversation, part of me looks at the academy. I've got a pal who's lads at the academy who's in there. So I get a bit tidbits, but I mean, there's things about investment. We're talking about the academy. They're talking about maybe getting the Lightwood Traffic Training Centre and buying that, and whether that's going to be added to or replacing Shycliffe. We don't know. So, I think we just got to be careful. Everyone's jumping up. Why aren't we playing the kids? We're down. We're not going to do anything. Play the kids. It's great, but I mean, let's look where we're going to go. To be fair, let's not destroy them because they are kids. We haven't got the Phil Fodens and the likes of the Harvey Barnes and that sort of type. We've got lads that are growing up that were in an academy from pretty much a League One Championship status club 2-3 years ago.
I think we could have you on for like an hour talking about this. I'd like to finish on maybe talking about Norrington Davis and how close you think he is to kind of stepping up. I know obviously he's done quite well at Stoke, and we will be a championship club next season. Yeah, obviously. Do you think he can challenge Enda Stevens and Ben Osborne next season?
He's playing championship football. Apart from his sending off, he had a couple of good games. I think he was man of the match for one of them. So he's at a level. He's playing at a level. I mean, under 23s is nice football, but it's junior football to a point. It's not grown up, horrible, Shawcross championship. People are going to kick the hell out of you at Stoke and places like that. Norrington's playing at that level, so there's no reason why, with experience, he can't stay at that level. If we can then bring him back, then I can't see any reason why he can't challenge. For me, I'd play Osborne in front of Enda. That's going to be controversial.
No, I agree.
I think Enda gets caught wrong side too many times. He did in League One, and it's not changed the number of times he gets caught wrong side. He's great going forward. I wish he'd have put his foot through that ball on against Fulham rather than trying to side foot it, just leather it. But I think we've got options there, and I think he'll be a good backup. But it's where else. I think we need other areas at the moment more than we need left-hand side. We've got Osborne. I think he'll do really well, and for me, he'd be playing every week. He can't play in the middle of the park, which we sort of tried to do. But down the left-hand side, I think he gives everything we need. But yeah, I think he will next season, once we get him back from loan, he's had some experience. he'll be able to challenge. Then it's up to Ender to step up. I mean, the whole point of having competition is people step up to the plate and kick on, which is what we've done as we've gone along.
We'll only have 6 or 7 left wing backs next season. It'll be interesting to see who actually does step up. Yeah, and they'll probably all get injured like they did this season, and we actually have to sort of round pegs and square holes.
Well, that's the problem we've got at the moment.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you very much, Jason. One more thing I'll just say is the young Sheffield United forward Ryan Viggers is on trial at Burnley.
Yeah.
I do find that odd because, of course, they are Premier League rivals, and he's apparently scored twice for them.
He has. Is he better than what we've got? Look, you've got the lads at the academy who see it day in, day out. They'll take a view. If he does go to Burnley, we'll get a fee. So that also makes a difference as well for those that don't know. It was last year. I think it's still the same. The higher the category that you are, the more you can command as a fee if our kids leave.
I didn't know that.
So so the Man City Academy costs so much more than ours. So what they look at is the longevity of the player with us. So how long have they been with us? And then what category level are we at? And that determines what we can ask for in terms of a compensation or transfer fee. So if we get Cat 1, you pretty much triple whatever you can ask.
That doesn't sound right, that does it? Because
it should be, I guess, on the ability of the kid.
But it depends on what it costs you to educate the lads. Because bear in mind, as I said, they're at school. What's it got? Who have you got educating them? Who have you got teaching them? Who have you got providing that coaching? What level are they at? What facilities have they got? And that's where it all comes from.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it just doesn't feel right that Man City could just go and pick up a League Two player for next to nothing.
It's changing. It's changing. There's one at the moment. I think it's Liverpool who have got a lad, and they're looking to pay a lot of money, about 10 million quid.
Wow.
So because he's been at a club for 6 or 7 years, so he's gone through that whole progression. And they're looking at the likes of Brewster, who did the same thing. They're looking at the likes of Brewster went for 20 million. Why is he not worth? So whether they'll get it or not is a different conversation.
It is. Jason, will you agree to change your handle on Twitter, or at least your name, to Jason the Knowledge?
I'm not sure about that, but maybe.
We definitely need to get Jason on again, don't we, Hal?
Oh, yes. Yes, we did say he was a hard act to follow, and you have definitely achieved so. I've learned a lot, actually. I didn't know a great deal about our academy, so I really appreciate that.
I didn't till you put me on the spot. No, I knew a bit, but I've got a couple of pearls from a couple of pals who's, as I said, one of his lads is still there, and hopefully he keeps doing well.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get out of this mess sooner rather than later. Try and get the Burnley game, and then to be honest, get rid of let's go down. Let's get rid of VAR, and let's get some proper football.
Yeah, hopefully we can all meet up. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason. Really appreciate it.
I will be listening to the rest of it as well, lads. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Jason,
you too, mate.
The Knowledge. There he is, now known forever as The Knowledge. And you'll find him on our Twitter at Sheffield United Way. We've got one of my favourite humans joining us next, Nick.
Who's that then?
It's Johnny from Shoreham View.
Hey!
You are, lads.
We all right?
We are now seeing your face.
I like your marketing as well there, Johnny.
What? I've got to get him where I can. I'm flagging at a minute.
So I'll just get some of that on screen. Oh, it's hard to do. Fell off the sofa there.
So if you don't know Johnny is another Sheffield United. Should we call them content creators, not YouTubers?
Blagger, I think is the right word.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
A passionate fan who creates content.
I'll go with that. I'll stick with that. There's worse things I've been called.
Definitely. Yeah. So if you want to go and check out Johnny's channel, it's there. It's right there straight for you. Shoreham View. Not sub to Shoreham View, but you can sub if you want to.
You should. After you've United way, go up to that one.
You definitely should. I've got lots of stories for you, Johnny, when we eventually meet up. But we don't have time for that now. So, Johnny, one of the reasons we've got you on is we want to know your thoughts on would things have gone differently if Jack O'Connell had been fit all season?
Yeah, 100%. Thing with Jack O'Connell is a lot of people seem to think that he's just our defensive rock. He's not. You look at our attacks last season from that left-hand side, they all come through Jack O'Connell. He makes Ender Stevens look better because if Ender Stevens, I need to watch my language here, if Ender Stevens fluffs up, O'Connell's there to bail him out. So we're not only lost a defensive player, we've lost our prime category for attack. So you look at our right-hand side, we've seen it with Jayden Bogle. Not a lot of chances come from there, but quite a few goals come from there, and that's because they're set up from the left. So we aren't Jack. What are we? We're exactly what we are. A team floundering at the bottom. We are a plan B.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just Jack, though, is it? Jack, like you said, Jack makes everybody play better. And like we said earlier on, it's not just Jack. John Fleck's been injured for parts of the season and playing poorly because he had a broken back at one point, weren't it? And then Ender Stevens has been out of form, and
is he back?
Yeah, exactly. I think
it's Jimmy, isn't it? It was Jimmy last game.
Jimmy made a return. I think he might have still been dying though, so I'll give him some some flack for that. But I think what we need to look at is we're not a one-man team, but we definitely seem to be a one-man system, and that worries me a lot. To be fair, we need investment in other areas and to kind of look at adjusting it. Because if we lose him again, what are we going to do? Go down to League One again? I'm not standing by that.
Let's not even say things like that. I can't, with my angina.
It's happened before, Hal. It's happened before.
Stop saying words.
Stop speaking now.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from Jack O'Connell because I feel like we've been talking about Jack O'Connell all season.
Please, my chronic depression can't handle any more Jack O'Connell talk. Let's perk it up and talk about another croc.
Yeah. Let's go for Sander Berge then, shall we? Because we had a little bit from him at the start of the season. But for me, he's still not really reached the heights that we probably expected. Definitely better than he was when he very first came in. He's not played much football this season. Do you think that we've kind of our attacking prowess has kind of floundered since Sander's been injured?
I think it has, and my solution to that will be to put Jayden in midfield because to me he plays better there than he does as a right wing back. But I think the thing with Sander is he was still learning, still adjusting. He's come from a league that, whether they're in the Champions League or not, it's a very soft league in terms of physical contact, the way they play football. You look at the way he passed the ball, he seemed to almost stroke it gently. And when he gave the ball away, that's when it used to happen. I'd love him to put a bit more smack into his passes. Saying that, haven't we bloody missed him? The way he touches the ball, the way he goes forward, it just oozes class. And that's why I dread to think what money will be offered in summer. Because if McCabe was still here, he took a Mars bar and a packet of Twiglets for him. But I hope and pray we can keep hold of him because what better education for a player who's come from a soft league than Championship? That could be, as much as the Premier League's got all its class, an education for a player like Sandu who needs to maybe toughen up a little bit is the Championship. If we can keep him, we've got a serious player going forward. Maybe with the way things have been going, without Jack O'Connell and the team not doing particularly well, maybe him being injured this season for the future has been a bit of a blessing. Controversial, I know, but imagine he'd want to pack his bags and sod off by the end of the season if he'd have played in all this, wouldn't it?
Well, I like that kind of contrary way of thinking because it's easy to just say he's a good player, so we've missed him.
Yeah, it is, but we've missed a lot of good performances this season. So what's the point in having a player's morale absolutely tank when now it feels like maybe I've got a point to prove I missed this season. I know what I can offer, and then show it next season because by the sounds of it, he doesn't really want to go. He doesn't feel like he's had a crack at the whip with his injury, and that could work in our favour. Saying that, Aston Villa will come in and buy him. No doubt.
Don't say that. Don't say that. That's been doing the rounds, hasn't it, on Twitter? That's been doing the rounds.
I seem to end every point with something that makes you both go, no.
Right, let's remove him, shall we?
Yeah, I got another one for you. Can
I just quickly ask about Sander Berge first?
Sorry, I was mid-sentence. But yeah,
I'm sorry. We weren't going to come back to this. What I was just going to say was, we spoke about this earlier on. Where would Sander Berge have played this season if he would have been fit, would he have played on that right-hand side? But with Norwood being as bad as what he has been in some games, would he have played defensive midfield?
With a fit team, to me, he plays right centre midfield. Left centre midfield if you want to put Bogle there, because I think that could be a midfield to be reckoned with. Bogle on the right-hand side midfield, Fleck on the left, and maybe Sander behind him or Norwood, and then rotate them as you need them, depending on who you're playing. But with Norwood playing the way he is, I wouldn't have minded maybe Sander sitting there. But I think he's stronger going forward. I know it's a bit of a waffly answer, but it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? We've not really seen a set game plan where he'd fit in this season because you've got a constantly rotating squad of form and injuries. So to me, I think our best 11 can only be decided once everybody's fit, and that's when you know what we'll be playing next season. And hopefully we'll maybe show a bit more attacking intent.
So did John Egan's injury finish, in your opinion, any hopes of us surviving this season, Johnny?
I think our hopes of surviving this season died in December? Never mind Egan's injury.
Some people said away at West Brom.
Yeah. A game where you can absolutely batter a team like that and come away with a loss just pretty much sums up the season, doesn't it? And the typical, I'm going to name drop your channel here, boom. In a typical Sheffield United way, we gave ourselves a false hope and a false security by being one of the few teams to go to Old Trafford and win. That by, scrapping wins out here and there and giving ourselves that brief hope and maybe we can do it. And again, we just come crashing down to earth. And I think that's what we need to do now is concentrate on not staying up, but not embarrassing ourselves, don't we? We need to kind of have players to have that anti showing, I'm going to go out there and show why I need to be here next season. Or if they're that way inclined, if they're a bit more selfish, or this is why I need to be bought by a bigger club and stay in the Premiership next season. Until we start doing that, we're just going to keep floundering away and we're not going to get that other point that we need to, not finish level with Derby's incredible record. And that's what I'm more bothered about at the minute than staying up, because that ain't going to happen. Let's be fair about it. We just need to beat Derby's record in the good way, not the bad way.
Well, at least we've not got 10 points. We've at least equalled it. And come on, we've got to get at least 1 point by the end of the season. It's got
Where? What fixtures do you look at and think?
He's done it again, Hal. He's done it again.
He gets me, builds me up. He builds me up. He starts me thinking about next season and all the positives, and then crash at the end of each sentence.
Back to here and now, and I've run out of beer, so it's not like I've got any more positives to offer.
You're like my insulin levels after my wife makes dessert.
That's when I'm going to start calling me strawberry cheesecake. I just want to see us show some intent, even if we get stonked 3 or 4-0 next game. At least just go out and go for it. I'm going to disagree with the last guy. Throw the kids out there. Throw them. Baptism of fire. See what they can do.
You're going to disagree with Jason the knowledge.
You've got the knowledge and the passion. They can agree at points, but at times they will conflict together. And to me, throw kids out there, see what they can do. What else have we got to lose this season? I don't think the kids' confidence will get any kind of knocks from, losing maybe 1-0 to Liverpool. But imagine if they go out and grab a goal. Even if we lose 3-1. If they get a goal at Liverpool in the Premiership, what's that going to do for their confidence next season? That's going to skyrocket and produce stars for the future. CC.
They're going to want to leave, though. They're then going to want to leave.
They're not Jordan Slew. These guys are more loyal than that bloke. Come on.
They're not Jordan Slew. And on that, we say, Johnny, thanks for promoting your channel. Thanks very much for coming on. Do check out Shore and View. It's brilliant. And it's like ours, but we're swearing.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to the vlogs next season as well, because we've not had them for a very long time, have we, mate?
I think that's it. And that's what's killing me most is not going away with lads, not filming that kind of content. I mean, I don't mind doing the previews and stuff, but I'm having to watch my language again, aren't I?
Yes, you're doing very well.
I'm a drunken supporter / editor more than anything. So let's get back to vlogging as soon as possible and leave the serious stuff to the family friendly channel.
Well, I think you do. I love the vlogs. Absolutely. I don't know how we've managed all these years that you've never filmed me.
It is one of those things. I look back at videos and think, have I not got him on camera? Because I know where he drinks. And have I not got him on camera? Because I know where he drinks. But
probably because I don't drink is probably the reason.
That is probably it. We're going to have to get you a baby shop or something. You've been on. You were on it Scunthorpe away.
Yeah.
I've seen Nick on there, yeah. So I was thinking, if I drank alcohol I'd have made it on there at least once.
I'd get you a shandy just so you'd feel part of the group, but it could disguise it to people.
Thanks, Johnny.
Right.
So,
Thank you very much,
so
Johnny.
much.
Thank you very much for having me on and taking the time to have me, lads. Thank you.
No worries. Cheers for coming, Johnny. See you soon, mate.
Ta-ra, bye-bye.
Excellent. Always love hearing from Johnny. He always makes me smile. He's like a ray of sunshine.
He is. What a guy. Okay. We are well running behind, aren't we? But we've had some brilliant people on, so we don't mind that.
Well, in my calculations, not want to sound like one of those people, we are 5 minutes over. But if there's one man who's known for his speed, efficiency, and reliability, they call him JC. It is, of course, James.
Lads, how we diddling?
Okay, mate. How are you?
Well, I nearly left, to be honest. 30 more seconds and I was out of here.
He's been waiting for ages.
This
For those who don't know,
terrible as well. There's no booze. It's awful.
James has done Fans React for us for so long. The season took its toll. He's not doing quite as many anymore.
Afraid not. Yeah, it's ground me down. Just can't face it.
I don't blame you.
Loving the t-shirt, by the way. Loving Drum Street Magnifique.
In Wilder we trust.
Absolutely. So, okay, this is a very horrible question that I've got to ask you, and Hal wrote it. I'm not taking any responsibility for it. Are you embarrassed to be a Sheffield United fan this season?
How dare you, Hal? Wash your mouth out.
Do you know what? It was because I was asked this on a podcast I did by some Arsenal fans. They were like, "Surely, bruv, you've got to be embarrassed, yeah?" And I thought, no, I'll never be. I thought I'll never be embarrassed to be a Blade, but maybe I should ask other fans.
No. I mean, love the badge. You can't be embarrassed. I mean, being a Sheffield United fan is not like being a fan of any other club. At the end of the day, we've been in the Premier League 3 times in the last 30 years. That's more times than our neighbours. It's more times than a lot of teams in other divisions. We're lucky, really. Yes, it's been an awful season, but we should look on the good times. We know being a United fan, it's up and down. There's going to be weird things happen. We've got our crazy luck. We've had things like the Tevez saga going on. But it's the life of a Sheffield United fan. We wouldn't change it for anything. I think, to be honest, I would be embarrassed as if I was a fan of our neighbours. And I'm just so glad that my dad was a Blade and I wasn't raised another part of the city. And I don't want to talk about those guys for a long time, but examples of not being able to pay the wages of the players, points deductions, a frozen pitch. We don't have any of those embarrassments. We're a big club. I think the only times I've felt embarrassed as a Blade has been when the likes of Sean Bean and McCabe have been storming down to Downing Street to argue about the Tevez saga. That's about close as I came to being embarrassed, really.
Hang on. Our mate Adrian was part of that group.
Was it? Well, that's very nice.
Go on.
Power to him.
Yeah.
But that definitely gave Wednesday fans, West Ham fans, a lot of ammunition. That's the word. Jesus, I've only had 2. It definitely gave them a
as well. He's going.
So anyway, let's move on now. Go on.
Any hopes, do you think, JC? I like calling you that. Of the Blades actually surviving this season?
Hopes slim and none, I think, really. Mathematically possible, still yes. But there's just too many injuries and the gap is too big with the points and we're too inconsistent. We've had great performances away at Man U and then we have Fulham. We're so inconsistent. And it looks like some of the players' heads have gone, to me. They look like they don't want to be there. They just want the season to be over. But yeah, we seem to have had a nice little run. What was it, 5 wins in 7 or something, undefeated in 7, but then we're coming crashing back down to earth again. And I think, like Johnny said, we just need to beat Derby's record now. That's the one thing we need to focus on, really, because we can't have that hanging over us. We broke records. I mentioned this on a Fans React video early in the season. We broke the records for the right reasons last season. This season, we're in danger of breaking them for the wrong records. We've got to beat Derby's record.
We are so much better than that Derby team. They were getting smashed. They were getting hammered. We've not really been hammered. We're losing, as we really know.
Liverpool,
we're losing 1-0, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just by the odd goal. And it's individual mistakes and mistakes they weren't making last year. And again, it's a series of what ifs. But I guarantee our first match back at Bramall Lane with the crowds there, we'll win. I don't care who the opposition is, we will win. It's going to be Cauldron, Fortress, Bramall Lane. Atmosphere is going to be electric. The seats are going to be rocking. I just can't wait. And I don't care, to be honest, 10,000 fans back. It could be 5 fans back, and it could be a lottery. I would go for that lottery. And if I won it, I would sing that place down. I just need to be back there, guys.
Yeah, and if I don't get in the lottery, if I'm not lucky enough, I'll do a watch along instead.
Yes, very good idea. Yeah, it's almost better in a way, isn't it?
In a way, it's better. You save a lot of money.
More personal, yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of people that watch, it's very personal.
I do worry if, say, we do come straight back up again, like Norwich potentially going to do. I do still worry about us being able to match the wage bill and budgets of other teams. Is that still going to hamper us?
That's never going to change, and I've said this to Nick before. He saw me on a Tottenham channel where they were complaining about the fact that they were only spending 60, 80 million and a wage budget for Bale and all that. And I was just thinking, we'll never be in that realm. Mm-hmm. We're playing a different sport.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. And people criticise the owners, but I don't think they've got the money there. We have spent a lot of money. We can question the transfers. There's not much more you could do, really, I think, based on these finances.
No. Can I quickly just change that question that Hal asked you just now and just say, any hopes of not finishing bottom of the league?
I think so. West Brom, they've looked fairly organised, but I think as someone mentioned earlier, Big Sammy's a dinosaur. We're surely going to be better than West Brom. I think Fulham are looking like they're stringing some good results together and getting a bit more confident. Newcastle, with a bit of free fall at the minute. I think the best we can hope for is second from bottom and beating Derby's record.
Yeah, I've said it on countless videos that we will finish third bottom. I don't think we've got it in us to. We've got no chance of that now. I don't think. I think every time we had kind of like you said, a good run of like a draw here, a win there, or even like a loss or something, we always kind of backs that up with a really poor performance. Not just a defeat, just a really poor performance. So yeah, they've given us some little glimmering lights of hope, if you like. But yeah, we've just not put that run together, have we?
And I did paint a scenario early in the season that, looking at Burnley at home last match of the season, it adds feelings of Wigan at home last match of the season in the Premier League. And I thought maybe we sell Lunny to Burnley in January and then he scores the winning penalty. These things happen. This is what being a United fan is about.
Yeah, FA06 says, I think we're still in with a shout to Europe. Of course, the reference there is to the FA Cup. So, Nick, you can still ask James that FA Cup question.
I will do. So we've got Chelsea in the next round of the FA Cup quarterfinals, I believe it is. So have we got any chance?
It would be the most Sheffield United thing for us to win the FA Cup and get relegated in the same season, wouldn't it? I think our best route to the final is obviously beating Chelsea without Ampadu and without our injuries. But say, we cause an upset there, magic of the Cup. We've done it in previous seasons. We then beat Bournemouth or Southampton. And then we face one of the Manchester teams in the final and probably lose. And it's going to be at Wembley, and we have a terrible record at Wembley. So
we'd rather face Manchester Red, wouldn't we, than Manchester Blue at the moment?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you never know what might happen there. And also, one day, I think the final is 1st of August. And how many fans are going to be there potentially? Again, we might make the difference if fans are allowed back in.
God, can you imagine? Can you imagine a Blades FA? I actually think if we won, I would explode.
Yeah. I think we're more likely to get sunburned stood behind a goal and then after the long journey home.
Yeah. Well, watch out for Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, thanks, James. Really, really enjoyed that. We've stuck to schedule a little bit here, but we'd love to talk to you for a lot longer than what we did. But like Hal said earlier, you've kept the time. You've been efficient.
I deliver. What can I say? I was worried with Johnny because I think I saw Nick was sweating after his hand over the sensor button, and he was ready to press it. But got through it.
Yeah, I think the biggest achievement tonight, from whatever, is the fact that Johnny didn't swear. So no, whatever else comes, that's been a success.
Tamed him.
Nice one, JC. Thank you very much for being part of it. We really appreciate it. Top man. Up the Blades. Why didn't everyone finish with that? Honestly, he's just so good. What good value James is. And we've only got one more guest that we're bringing to you all, and then you can all, Go about the rest of your evening. We do appreciate the amount of you that have stuck with us right throughout. If you haven't yet, please do give this a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the Sheff United Way, what are you playing at? That's actually quite offensive, and I'm a little insulted.
So who have we got next, Hal?
We have got Lee Pitts, who I believe is going to give himself a nickname for the channel. Pitsy.
Hey, guys. Hi, chaps. How are we?
Excellent.
Very good, mate. How are
Good
you?
stuff. Good stuff. I'm great. I'm about halfway through a bottle of red, so absolutely smashing.
That's how long we've kept you waiting.
That's right. Yeah. And obviously, it had to be red. But it could have been red or white, so I don't suppose it really matters either way. So, no, I'm great. Thank you. I'm great. So, where do we want to start then, chaps?
Who would you keep, Lee, for next season?
Well, all of them. Keep all of them. I love the lot of them. To be honest with you, I think it's about... I know some people have criticised the board and said they've not spent enough money, but we need a sense of perspective where we are, what the budgets are, and I think we need to look at what can we get for somebody. So, for example, I spoke to somebody about this the other day. How much would you get for Billy Sharp? £500,000, yeah? How much to replace Billy Sharp? About 40 million quid. So we need to look at which players have an impact and who are going to be a drain on resource. I mean, I made a list of people who I think are going to go. I mean, we signed Rodwell. Okay, it was a bit of a no-brainer. Don't really cost anything. I think he's going. You're not going to like this because I heard you say something earlier, but I think Mousse goes. I think it's the wage. I think he's got speed.
I don't think we're that bothered, do we, really? He's not done much this season, has he? And we all love him.
I think he's got the ability.
That I said I'd like him to start.
Yeah, he's got the ability, he's got the speed. He seems very much a confidence lad. You know, bang a goal in next week, he looks like he's going to score an hat-trick. Miss a couple one-on-one with a keeper, you might as well stick me dad on, and he's 80. Do you know what I mean? He's very much a confidence player, and I'm not sure if in the Championship, where it's a little bit more rough and ready, and they're not going to care who you are, if his head's going to be in the right place. Don't mean he's not got ability. I think he has, but I don't think he's the type who would necessarily... We haven't got that luxury in the Championship. My favourite player, Sanderberg, going. And I think what Sheffield United fans are not used to is we've gone from the first division where we love people working really hard, running around, putting a tackle in and kissing the shirt. Fabulous, great. But Sanderberg is technically the best footballer that we have. And the reason Arsenal are interested in, because he reminds me of Kevin McDonald. He doesn't run around like an idiot. He makes passing a ball look really simple. He makes football look easy. And unfortunately, we're going to lose him. I think we're going to lose Lundstrom because, I mean, he changed my opinion. He looked like, I thought, okay, you've come from Oxford, you worked your way up, you've got games, now you think you're Billy Big Time. But actually, that's probably his age, and I'm probably being unfair to him. Actually, I think he's improved a lot over the past few weeks. I think what we need to look at is what players we've got. We've got a first team, a first 11, but who's the backup? Because I think the problem this year is that you get one or two key injuries. So O'Connell's out. So who's in that position? Well, we don't know. So then we're trying 3, 4, 5 different players. We're trying a midfielder. We're trying Robinson. We're trying Ampadu. Ampadu's going. Jagielka's probably going to retire but stay with the club. And all of a sudden, I mean, I made a list. I got Rodwell is a bit of both. Berg, Lundstrom, Ampadu. You've got like 4 midfielders going there. So all of a sudden, we've got Fleck, Norwood, and Osborne. Similar type of players. I think Osborne and Fleck, yeah, you need a grafter and you need somebody who can pass. Well, Norwood can pass. Osborne can graft, but he works hard, but sometimes he goes missing a little bit. Sometimes, and other times he's amazing. But I look at him, and I think if I were looking at Norwich City this year, and I've seen some of their games, would Osborne get in their team? Honestly, probably not. And what have Norwich got? Well, if you look at the stats for Norwich City, with Buendia, they're the best team by a mile. It's 100 points. Without him, they're actually mid-table. And I think who have we got who's that player who comes on like a Buendia and you go, right, he's going to play at 40 yards. I still think Norwood's got it. I can't believe the amount of flack that he gets from fans. I think it's outrageous. I think what's great is that when you watch some of the Blades behind the scenes videos and you get a pitch level view and there's no crowd and you can hear the noise and you think, we all sit here, everybody's got judgment, you think, any idea how hard it is to play Premiership football at that intensity against blokes who are like 6 foot odd? They're all running like Usain Bolt. And we're going, whoa, he should be 3 yards over here. Ollie Norwood's got a footballing brain. And I think we're just a bit far too easy to judge. And he's like last year, I look at the performances and last year and this year, other than Chelsea, Tottenham, a couple other games, we've not been that different. They've really not. And you look at Leeds United, everybody, I mean, the press love Leeds United, but Leeds have got one of the worst defences in the Premiership. But they score goals. Norwich went down. I knew Norwich would go down when they came up because they scored goals, but they were scored in the 95th minute, but they couldn't defend. We've consistently been able to defend. Our problem is not creating. So when everybody's slagging off Brewster, I sort of think, yeah, but he's had 15 minutes. He's had half an hour. He's had one game here. He's had, he's a young lad. He's 20 years old. Ched Evans, don't like to say the name, it took him, everybody wants an instant reaction. And I sort of think, give him time for Christ's sake. Give him 15, 20 games, not 5 games, and then write him off because he's playing against the world's best defender at Man City.
Well,
sense of perspective, I think.
Yeah. Do you know, Bruce, the only 2 games that I can really pick out of my mind where he started is Man City at home, where we barely attacked, and Liverpool away.
I've got a stat for you, lads. Ryan Brewster has been used as a sub 10 times. Only Fabio Silva and Yarmolenko have been used more in the entire league.
So how are we going to make any judgments on his quality? If Jurgen Klopp thinks he's good enough, then I hate to say it because I hear it in pubs, I reckon that Jurgen Klopp knows more about football than the guy in the pub who reckons that he's not worth 23 million quid. Because world football is mad. And if Max Aarons is worth 35 million quid, and we're talking 35 million quid for a championship footballer, then Ryan Brewster is worth 20 odd million quid in today's world. So I've listed the players who I think are going. I think we need to think about, so defensive wise, I still like Stevens. I've heard a lot from Luton fans and some Stoke fans that Norrington Davis has made that progression. He's a backup. He's not a first team player, but you know what? He's been kicked about in the Championship, and that's what we want. Somebody who knows what it's like. He's young. He's got international pedigree. So he's a good backup. So I think on the left-hand side, assuming that Stevens stays fit, Norrington Davis comes in. I know he's a bit of a hero now, but I don't think Kean Bryan is going to be much more than a squad player, if I'm honest.
So this is your team for next season, are you saying?
Well, I don't. Like a few of the guys I said earlier, the system has to stay the same. Paul Hurst, I think, went to Ipswich, and they completely changed the style of football. It was a disaster. Was he a bad manager? No, he was a good manager. But the players, you're expecting them to change too much. So if we're a project for 4 years, and then we go, right, lads, on Monday, you're going to play back 4, and you're going to do that, and they're going to go, hang on a minute, and then it's going to take them 6 months to get ready. And if we're in the Championship, then people are going to expect us to win every game. And every team that we play against, we're going to be a target. So we've got to give ourselves a chance. And the expectation and changing the system with potentially 2 or 3 new players, let's give ourselves a bit of a chance here. I think Ramsdale, again, despite what I hear, he was Bournemouth's player of the season. Has he made mistakes? Yes. Is he a young lad? Yes. But you look how many great, amazing saves he makes, how vocal he is, and the opposition and the amount of goalkeeping that he has to do, actually, I think is a steal. I think is an absolute steal, and I think it gets highlighted and flagged when you're a goalkeeper. If Lundstram loses it in midfield, you go, that's a shame. As a goalkeeper, it's the impact is tenfold. I like Ramsdale. I was trying to think on the right hand side. I love Baldock, Bogle. I think we're okay there. Midfield is the big thing for me, and I'm sort of thinking like, okay, we're down a few, but it's like, what's our budget going to be? Because do we blow all our parachute payment on we've got to get promoted, which if you're Norwich, then it works, great. But if it doesn't, then all of a sudden you go from 5 great years to being in the brown stuff, and you've got some big wages to pay and you've got some salaries to pay off, which is exactly what Leeds did. It's exactly what Wednesday did. Yeah, Wednesday and Leeds were both playing players who'd left the club. We don't want to be in that situation. So it depends on what budget. I mean, ultimately, Berg's going to go, give us 30 million quid. It's a Norwegian international. Give me 35 million quid.
And remember, we'll have Luke Freeman coming back.
Well, that's another thing. And I was speaking to a guy who's a QPR fan. They love him. Can't get enough of him. I know people say, he's not pulled up trees at Forest, but they've had a change of manager. He was injured. That Sabri, is it Lemuche, who's the first manager? I mean, he was a hate figure almost with Lewis Grabham. If you'd seen him at Huddersfield, I mean, like, detested him. And you think, so it wasn't that the players lacked ability, it's confidence. They didn't have confidence, and their heads were down. And I think football is about confidence. And what have we done in the past? We've signed players who were a name. And what did Wilder do? He bought Fleck, who was a captain. He bought 3-4 other players who were all captains of clubs. I think Lundstram might have been a captain. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But he bought players who were on the up, and he weren't put off by the price tag and the name. It was like, if you're confident, you perform better. If you've been performing badly, then you're going to have a complete mindset change to all of a sudden start playing how you could do. And I don't think that Luke Freeman has become a bad footballer. To me, and a mate of mine said it before, he's a Mark Duffy. He's the one player that when McGoldrick's injured and Norwood's a bit deeper, is that he can play that number 10 a little bit, but he's like that gap in between that Duffy always did, the unexpected. Give him a chance. He's not a bad player.
Are we expecting to go back to an attacking midfielder next season then, and
I think so.
Two midfielders?
I think so, because we're playing different opposition, and people are Wilder's it's not changed. It's a one-trick pony, but it has changed. It's completely changed, because we weren't overlapping as much in the first season. Yeah, okay, but still in the first season we weren't overlapping as much. That's why we were tight in defence and sneaking a goal. And all that's happened this year is we've made an odd mistake and then the Reds drop, a stupid pass and then the Reds drop, and you get punished. In the Championship, you get away with it, because whatever we think, it's the quality's not quite there. And I don't think we've become a bad team. I think confidence has dropped. They won a couple of games. I guess what, they play great. But then you play in Chelsea. So a team who've just won in Europe, and we're saying, well, why is Chris Basham not being able to keep up with him? Sense of perspective. Come on, lads. What we're talking about here. Wilder's got a great system. He does modify this system. I think we need changes. I mean, I was trying to keep an eye on players who I thought might be good. I thought John Swift, they still rave about him. He's been injured at Reading, but he's come back. He scored a blinding free.
I was going to say, it takes an amazing free kick. We need that.
Scored a free kick, I think, the other week against QPR, like 30-yarder, top corner. Now, who else is going to do that at United? We don't have him. So he's a bit like, he's not a Norwood. He's got the pass, but he's also a little bit more attack-minded, and also is a big lump of meat. And let's not forget, in the Championship, sometimes you need a big bit of timber. And I don't always think we're that big, other than Ollie Burke, who's massive. We're not physically that big. Freeman.
Was it Ali McCoy said he's a physical specimen?
I thought he said a sexy specimen.
He's a sexy specimen.
I'm not gonna.
Look at his sexy body.
Just with midfield, you've spoken about John Fleck and John Lundstrom are the only players to assist more than one goal this season, 2 goals each, which just highlights that it is. You're right. Midfield has just been absolutely crucial.
Yeah. But I also think that we've sort of chopped and changed around at the front. And I think that the responsibility of the midfield has changed a bit because O'Connell's not been there. And so when O'Connell's pulling forward, if you're a defender, the other team, and you go, right, who am I picking? Right, they're number 9, they're number 10. And then next minute, their number 5's coming down. You're going, oh, hang on a minute. So you get pulled out of place. And he's not been there, and we've not had Robinson's not really. He's a good player, but he's not that type to do that role. In actual fact, there aren't many players who can do that role. That's why we've struggled.
Even Anderson can do that.
Yeah, but it has a knock-on effect. You don't. It's not just in isolation. There's not like a back 4 and then a middle 4, or a back 5 and then or back 3 and a middle 5 and a front 2. You're not playing isolation. So O'Connell being there has an effect on what the other team does at the back, which means it has an effect on their midfielders, whether it creates space. That's why I like Berg so much, because he's the one player, he's not like an endless chicken, he creates space on his own. Because he makes it look slow. He makes the game, people say he's slow, but he makes the game look slow because he's composed. But I don't know. I mean, it all depends on how much cash we've got. I think, I know he sort of plays up front, but I also think he's a good attacking midfielder. Bradley Dack. I think he'd be a pretty good. He'd be a wilder sort of signing, Dak, if we've got that type of money. Because Blackburn aren't going anywhere.
He will be expensive.
He will.
He's been out injured though, hasn't he? So
yeah, he will.
I'm not sure how
Blackburn
well
aren't going anywhere. Blackburn aren't going anywhere soon. And is he going to the Premiership? Well, no, he's not. So who are we up against? A top 8 Championship team. We're a top 8 Championship team. Who's going to get him promoted and a wage rise? Us or Blackburn? Us. So if I'm his agent and I'm trying to sell him, stepping stone, get a Sheffield United kid, because and that type of, or even somebody like Alex Mowat from Barnsley. He's decent on the ball, created a few, scored a few. It's that type of player who can sort of fit in. So I do think that the midfield's key for us. I've really waffled, Anna. Yeah, I do.
No, enjoying it. And you're the last person on, so it's fine.
Just killing time. Yeah. Well, I knew with being on last, you thought let's finish on a low.
No, you've been brilliant. Everybody's been brilliant.
I think we will wrap it up in just a moment. Have you got one final question for Lee, Nick?
Yeah, we've talked about the players. There was talk about Chris Wilder maybe handing in his notice earlier in the season. Talking about maybe the Prince might think he's not up to the job earlier in the season. Do we think that's going to change kind of after the end of the season, start of next? Do you think Wilder will still be in a job?
Simply, yes. Because Chris Wilder, to me, tactically, is one of the best managers in the country. But you've got to think, is he attractive and what jobs are going to become available? So is he going to get a job in the Premiership? Well, no, because the teams going up will keep theirs. The ones in the mid-table to top half will keep theirs. So there's very limited opportunities where he'd get a go. So then his outlet is a top team in the Championship. But as I said, we're a top team in the Championship. He's spent more money than we've ever spent. Have you ever seen Sheffield United spend £8 million on a player and have him on the subs bench? I remember when we signed Mark Morris for 225 grand or something. And I said to me, Dad,
How old are you?
Very old.
You don't look it.
We need to ask, did you ever see, was it Clive Cutbush?
No, thank you very much. Yeah. I'm surprised I'm not in black and white. No, but
that's a little running joke Nick and I have got.
But I remember saying to my dad, because I remember Brian Dean was 35 grand, I think, and I was only a teenager. And I remember thinking, "Oh right, so does that mean that Mark Morris is about 8 times better than Brian Deane?" Clearly not. But Chris Wilder's stopping. He loves this club, and who's going to come in with a shed load of cash? Well, actually, the realities are we are one of the clubs with shed loads of cash because we've just come down from, or we may just go down from the Premiership. So I don't see
which teams will know. So prices might be inflated when Sheffield United come calling.
Sorry, say that again. I got distracted by the thing at the bottom. Sorry.
It's all right. I've witnessed that. People enjoy the reading thing. Yeah, because we'll have had the parachute payment.
Yeah.
Teams will know we've got a bit more cash than certainly other, if we are in the Championship, than other Championship teams. So they might actually up their prices when Sheffield United come knocking on the door.
Sure, but that's how it is for every team that gets relegated. And I think if you look at Norwich, they've been quite smart. They didn't. I didn't know why they didn't spend any money when they got promoted. Basically, they paid off a load of debt and they paid off for the training ground. So they went up on the cheap. Hope they stop up, but if they didn't, then they came down with loads of cash and they were cash rich. That's why they've only sold 1 or 2 big name players, and they managed to keep hold of Cantwell, Buendia, and Aarons so far. So yes, people are going to charge a lot, but well, so should we. Sell Sander Berge for 35 million quid because he's a Norwegian international with Premiership experience. So that's the way of football. I also think that Wilder's smart enough. I mean, you look at Ivan Toney at Brentford. He's playing in League One. Watkins was at Exeter. I remember us being interested in him for like £1 million quid. And that's a lot of money.
Yeah, we missed out though. Like Callum Wilson when he was cheap. Ivan Toney when he was cheap. Ollie Watkins, as you mentioned, we missed the boat on these players. Then they go for 10 million.
We do, but that's because we were always skint. And we were always selling a Jordan Slew or whoever for 50 quid. And then begrudgingly, when he leaves, you sort of go, I hope it don't work out because, you know. But we're the ones with the money. And yes, it is going to cost us. And we are going to have to pay inflated wages. But United seem to be better run than any point in my life. You know, we had Reg Brealey. We had Woodhouse, you know, turning up in disguise. You know, we're not in those days. The club is well run financially. And if somebody wants 50 grand a week because they think it's Sheffield United, well, they won't get it. But then the player won't then get the move to Sheffield United. So they lose out. So I think we'll be absolutely fine. And I think the club is well run. I'm just a little bit tired of this. I've seen some absolute dross at United. And there's enough credit in the bank with Chris Wilder over the past 4 years, thank you very much, that I'll go and watch him play anybody. I don't care who he's playing. He's my manager, and that's my club. So I won't be criticising him. Yeah.
Well, that's the positivity we want to finish on.
That's how we end it.
That's 3 glasses of red wine, is that, I think, and some custard creams. So.
Oh, I had a custard cream in years.
Yeah. 50 pence from a well-known supermarket outlet, which I won't advertise.
Well, thank you very much for that. If you still want to be helping us stay in custard creams, you can become part of our super subscribers. That's a super chat to everyone else, and that is very much appreciated. Thanks to all of you, by the way, that have got involved in the chat and that have shared with the super chat. It's wonderfully, wonderfully kind of you. Nick, any final closing thoughts?
No, I think we've had some brilliant people on tonight, some that we may call on in the future as well. Lee has spoken really, really well as well. So hopefully...
I was going to cry a couple of times. I started to well up.
I think we've all nearly cried a little bit this season. So yeah, no, nothing, mate. I think we should do more of these. Let us know in the comments right now if you think we should do more of these. And obviously, people that may watch this as a video afterwards on YouTube, let us know what you want to see more of, and we will oblige, won't we, Hal?
Just one thing, guys, before I go. Sorry, Wednesday losing 3-0. So if that don't put a smile on your face, then nothing else will.
Okay, if you're watching this back, breaking news. That's what we like to bring you, score updates. Thank you very much, Lee. It's been really good chatting to you and to all the guests. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Mate.
See you later.
Oh, I always do that.
I give you one.
So yeah, we've had some great comments as well, haven't we, Hal? Some brilliant ones that you put on screen.
I'm just having a quick look back through, and so many people seem to want this more. So that's really good. You've all made me laugh in the comments. It's been very much appreciated. And yeah, we went on for a while, but I think it was all good chat and worth hearing from all these fans and the variety of opinions. And when you watch this back, if you do, you'll see in the comments, not everyone was in agreement at all. Some people very much on the other side of the fence to where we were sitting, and certainly we are big supporters of Chris Wilder and Alan Neil. And for me, that won't change. No,
absolutely not. And job for life for us. But who knows? Next season, a few bad results. You never know. You never know. But hopefully we'll get a few good results and we'll go straight back up because we've definitely got the team for it. I think the only real two positions that we need to fill for me is attacking midfield and right-hand side of midfield because we're probably going to lose Lundstrom like we've mentioned tonight. We're probably going to lose a lot of midfield players. But shore up that right-hand side and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, the midfield's interesting, isn't it? Because if you look at like the potential of an attacking midfielder, David McGoldrick, who could play in the Duffy role next season, has had 37 shots on goal. That's 11 more than Ollie McBurney's had. And Billy Sharp, surprisingly, for the amount of goals he scored, has only had 9 shots on goal.
That's because Billy Sharp scores goals, mate. How many of them has he scored? 5, is it?
Let's say yes, because I've forgotten and it's late.
5 from 9. Did you say 9?
Yeah, 9 shots. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's crazy. 50%, more than 50% hit ratio.
Quick maths.
Quick maths, bruv.
And on that, we will say thank you and good night. Nick, thank you very much for having me on, and a great idea that this of yours to do.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody, for being on here and also being in the comments as well. And by the way, before we go, if you would like to be on one of these videos, drop us a DM on Twitter, on Facebook even, send us a private message to at Sheffield United Way. At the bottom of the screen right now, Hal's pointing. Yeah, go and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, even Instagram. Send us a DM if you want to be on one of these and you think you can give us some key knowledge and information. Maybe you could be the knowledge. And yeah, we want to hear more from fans because this channel is for fans. It's not just for me and Hal to get on a soapbox and just chat nonsense. We want other fans on here. We want to kind of reach out to as many people as possible, as many different opinions as possible. We love it, don't we?
Yeah. Get Brian the Blade on. No,
except for that, I have no idea who he is. Still think
from Praise or Grumble.
Yeah. No, we don't want that guy. Anyway, so yeah, thank you very much, Hal, for being here as always. Thank you very much, Nick, for being here as always. And thank you very much, Bobby, for being in the background because he's absolutely smashed it as always. We're very, very happy to have him on board. And thank you, everybody else, for being here. So seeing as though we still don't have an outro, me and Hal are going to do this really weird wave, as we always do. We will get an outro for next time, because it's going to continue to be weird. So thanks for everyone for being here, and we'll see you next time.